Hi, I'm Louie Giglio, and I just finished my new book, Not Forsaken, a book all about how each one of us can live in the blessing of a perfect Heavenly Father.
Louie Giglio, welcome to Radio Tygerberg 104FM.
Yeah, thanks for having me today. It's a treat to be on.
It's awesome to have you in studio. Now, Louie, you've been in youth ministry now for close to 20 odd years, 22 years. Where did it all start for you? What sparked your love for youth ministry?
Well, really, we've been specifically in a zone of reaching out to 18 to 25-year-olds, so that university moment. It started off for me, just the Lord opened a door, honestly, for me to do a summer college internship at a church in Houston, Texas. Didn't see college on the radar. I went that one summer, and the rest was history. Did 10 years on a college campus, then Passion was born, and Passion gathers 18 to 25s, university-age young people, to see them live for what matters most. And like most great stories, I didn't see it coming. God just opened a door. But that's the place you want to be, that crossroads, that university moment where a lot of decisions are made that set the course for the rest of our lives.
Wow.
That's where you want to be standing, pointing people to Jesus.
It's an amazing movement that you've started, because in 1997, the very first one, close to 2,000 young people showed up. And then in 2000, something just miraculously happened. The one-day event, 40-odd thousand young people coming to know the Lord. I remember vividly those videos that came out in that time with people walking down this mountain, what kind of valley, with a cross, planting the cross, and just people pouring onto that. It must do something as a leader at that point to say, my Lord, what have I signed up for?
Yeah, well, that all the Passion started with a vision, a real vision. On an airplane, I just had a picture that God gave me. It ended up being that day of one day, 40,000 some odd people on their knees, on their faces, on the ground, praying for awakening in this generation. And it was so holy, so powerful. I've never been a part of anything like it before or since. We prayed for a year. We saturated the environment. It was a holy, solemn assembly. And during one of the songs, we had a massive cross come in, like 10-footer, weighed hundreds of pounds. We set it in front of the stage, and kids started running from the back, several hundred meters, and just throwing themselves down. And then they took it out of the ground and started passing it over their heads all over this field, all spontaneous. And people and it wasn't like a relic, but people just sensed the power, the forgiveness, the mercy of God. And that day spawned a lot of the rest of Passion, but honestly, there's never been a day before or a day since like it.
You've always been, I've said this, in my father's generation, there was guys, we would call them Billy Graham and Reinhard Bonke. They were the voices of a generation. In my generation, Louie Giglio is standing out head above water in anything that is done in the spiritual realm, because you found a way to really draw the young, inquiring heart closer to Jesus. The 268 generation was born and birthed, and it spread like a wildfire. For those who don't know, what is the 268 generation?
Yeah, so when we started Passion, you couldn't Google Passion online. That was a bad idea.
It's still a bad
And it's
thing.
probably still a bad idea. So our website couldn't be passionsomething.com.
Yeah.
And our heartbeat was the glory of God. And the text that became our core was Isaiah 26:8. The last phrase says, "For your name and your renown are the desire of our souls." And that's what we are about, have been, are, and will be about. Simply, it means live for the thing that matters most. And the thing that matters most is God's glory. So we, instead of making it passion.com, it was 268generation.com, Isaiah 268, living for your name and renown. That generation is who we are, still are. I think you can go to passionconferences.com now, and we've algorithmed ourselves up to the top of the Google search. But the 268 generation, the 268 generation is still the heartbeat of who we are. A lot of people have a different verse every year for their deal. We're still trying to chew on the one we've got. I want to live not for me, but I want all of me to live for all of him.
we can't talk about passion, about Louie Giglio, without talking about the music. And you've surrounded yourself with brilliant guys, guys like Chris Tomlin, Matt Redman, David Crowder, Christian Stanfield. There's a couple that slip my mind now. Christy Knuckles, I remember her singing Pregnant on stage and just worshiping, tears running down her face. And how do you balance the act of getting such world-class musicians to buy into this dream, to say, listen, it's not about you, it's not about your music, it's about God's glory, God's renown, and this is what you bring. And the evidence of that is world fame in a big way. How do you balance that?
That's a tricky thing for all of us to balance. And I think, we were all friends coming into Passion, and we believed in the movement together. And some people have come and gone. Some of the people you just mentioned aren't really at the core of Passion on a day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year basis anymore. But it really is where the rubber meets the road, honestly, for all of us. If it's all about Jesus and it's all about his glory and his fame, then it's all about Jesus and it's all about his glory and his fame. And we pray all the time at the end of an event, I hope people don't walk away and talk about a name of a person or even about Passion. Sure. We will not have succeeded unless people walk away and said, I saw Jesus like I've never seen him before. And that's really what it's all about.
I'm thinking of some of the songs that I've come to know with a passion. But if I take you back to being in full-time ministry now, in church ministry with Passion City Church, and that's in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
You've been there for 10 years, and for 22 years, you've been the leader of a movement. What are some of the biggest lessons learned in that process of walking in front and leading people closer to experiencing Jesus?
Yeah, I think the big lesson in all of it is you just have to make sure it's a calling. It's hard to cut the wake. And it's really hard to keep casting vision. I always say vision has a short shelf life, and every parent knows that.
Yes.
Because they don't tell their kids something once, and then 2 weeks later, they, oh, Mom, I remember what you said 2 weeks ago. No, you tell them every day, many times a day. This is what we do in our family. This is how our family lives. This is how our family acts. This is how our family talks. And that's the same in leading a church or a business or an organization or a movement. You have to cast vision every single day. And I believe to cast vision every single day, you have to be called. Sure. Moses never forgot that burning bush. Yeah. He never forgot the magnitude of God's calling on his life. He didn't get it all right every time, and none of us do. Yeah. But that significance of calling, and I think for me, it hasn't been easy. We're doing the biggest event we've ever done in 70 days from right now in the premier football stadium in America, in our city in Atlanta. And it is like climbing Mount Everest with flip-flops on. Wow. Or whatever you call them in South Africa.
We call them pluckies, but we get
I knew that wasn't the right phrase, but
it's better than the Australian version.
Yes, it is. I was saying, I hope it's not that.
No, it's not. So Louie, I want to play a song, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Forsaken a little bit. I remember spending a minute with you many years ago, and you won't remember this. I was in a crowd with probably a couple of 100 young youth leaders up in Gallagher Estate in Midrand, probably 2006, if I'm not mistaken. And the fruitcakes and ice cream story came out, and that was the drive of Passion at that time. And I remembered so vividly that just sitting in that environment and the way that you just connected and shared your heart. You've never been one for the limelight, to say, look at me. You've always been the one to say, listen, I've got this thing and I need to impart. And if I cannot stay silent, I just need to give it. What has been your greatest joy in ministry?
I think for me, it's just honestly knowing God. Ministry is a bonus. It is a add-on bonus to having a relationship with the God of the universe. We somehow lost the wonder of the fact that the one who created the stars knows us and invites us to walk beside him every day. Wow. And I think for me, you try not to think about all the ripples and the dominoes. I met a girl this morning who told me the exact phrase out of Indescribable Message that changed her from being an atheist to someone who wanted to know God. And now here she's serving God in full-time ministry. Wow. 13 years old, don't believe in God. One line out of one video changed her story, changed her destiny. You try not to think about that. She shared that story with me, and I didn't walk out and go, man, I am a big deal. Wow. I just walked out and went, man, what kind of life are we living that we get to walk with God?
But the book in the US, you give this book to into the prison ministry. If you want to tell people one reason why they should get this book, Forsaken, what will it do, and why is it so important to get behind this theology?
Well, the beauty is the book is not forsaken. So we try to get the idea across that God isn't going to ever forsake you, no matter what your earthly father's story is. You have a perfect heavenly Father who is wanting to pour an extraordinary Father's blessing on every single step of your life. No one will be forgotten. No one will be left behind. No one abandoned. No one forsaken.